Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I also would like to take a moment to thank you for your service. And you served 2 years as ranking member and 4 years as chairman of this committee. And you've always conducted yourself and your chairmanship with dignity and courtesy. And I know Mr. Maffei has also shared that with me privately. And so I wanted to thank you for that. Today may be a day of disagreement, but I sincerely believe that if we conduct this hearing fairly, as we have in the past, that we will emerge as a more we will emerge with a better understanding of what Mr. Park did and, most importantly, did not do with respect to Healthcare.gov. Fairness is particularly important because this hearing has the feeling, quite frankly, as a former prosecutor, of a trial. And the only witness before us is Mr. Park. The title of the hearing implies that we are going to examine his involvement in the development of the Healthcare.gov website. But most significantly, a staff report released by you, Mr. Chair, and Chairman Smith on October 28th functions as a prosecutor's memorandum that makes very damning allegations regarding Mr. Park's honesty before the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform and Dr. Holdren's candor in his replies to this committee regarding Mr. Park's involvement in cybersecurity. As a former prosecutor, I believe that allegations made against Mr. Park could place him in legal jeopardy. He deserves a chance to tell his own story and put these allegations to rest, and I believe he can do that. Mr. Park is a successful entrepreneur in the IT world who took a break from developing successful companies to come to Washington, D.C. to help the government and the country think of creative ways to use information technology to improve our economy and address important social problems. He's a patriot, and he's a son of immigrants who have played their own role in keeping the American economy vibrant and expanding. Mr. Park's parents, I understand, are here today, as is his wife, as is his pastor, and friends from the IT business world. I mention this to remind all members to not confuse their feelings towards the Affordable Care Act with Mr. Park as a person. He served the public and did his best and should be thanked for his contributions. In fact, Mr. Park has returned to the Bay Area, and I know people personally who have been contacted by Mr. Park, who he's trying to recruit to bring bright, young, innovative stars to the IT world to take a break from the multi-million-dollar contracts that they have in Silicon Valley, come out to Washington, D.C., and try and solve problems. I cannot imagine that this helps him make that case. In fact, this probably makes it much harder for him to make that case to go through a process like this. I have reviewed a minority staff report, which I asked be made part of the record, built on a complete review of the documents produced by the White House. The staff makes a very strong argument, supported by White House documents, that Mr. Park did not have a deep, direct, or intimate involvement in any of the work of developing the online marketplace launched on October 1st, 2013, or the cybersecurity standards and techniques used for the site. If he was playing such a role, there should be monthly progress reports from contractors that show progress against deliverables and requirements, costs of work, a critical path analysis that identifies where problems threaten a successful launch, and a discussion of the integration process for the site across an army of contractors on the project. None of these documents have been produced because Mr. Park was not the day-to-day manager on the project, nor are there any kind of documents that any of the contractors produced doing the actual work could possess, which would result or include a discussion of code, performance, and testing results. Those documents can be found at CMS, which managed this complex acquisition among the contractors. I believe that Mr. Park's job was about trying to push technology, and the record and evidence supports that. Technology throughout all levels of the country to improve our competitiveness and quality of life. As just one example, Mr. Park drove an initiative to find innovative methods to use IT and big data to combat human trafficking. I don't think there's any member who favors human trafficking. That is about as nonpartisan as an initiative as you can get. Mr. Park was working full-time in a much wider swath of issues and areas than Healthcare.gov. Members, I hope, will not lose sight of that and get tunnel vision about Mr. Park simply because we have such a narrow set of records. I believe that if Mr. Park is given a fair chance, a fair opportunity to answer questions here today, that members on both sides of the aisle will conclude that Mr. Park was not a principal actor in the development of Healthcare.gov prior to October 1st, 2013, and had no role in developing cybersecurity standards or techniques for the website. Mr. Park, I'm going to apologize to you now for the way you have been treated, and I'm hopeful that you will get apologies from the chairman and other members by the end of this hearing.